With the high 55 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The Madison Metropolitan School District investigating serious allegations involving staff at Whitehorse Middle School.
A post on social media claimed staff members were involved in a physical and sexual assault. The district says it's immediately launched an investigation working with school leadership, the Office of School Safety, and law enforcement. Officials are urging the public to not repost or share information online, saying it could affect the investigation's integrity. No further details have been released. Elizabeth Linton in WTMJ News.
A Waukesha County jury has found a former Planet Fitness employee guilty of child sexual exploitation. Prosecutors say 42-year-old Maurice King committed the crime at the Pewaukee gym back in 2024. Jury acquitted King of child enticement, and 2 other charges were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can't be refiled. Investigators say the victim was 16 at the time and told police she encountered King while visiting the gym late at night. King scheduled to be sentenced in December. It's day 27 of the government shutdown. Lawmakers no closer to voting on a bill that would keep the government open this coming weekend, November 1st. SNAP government funding for food assistance will run out for about 42 million people. Kara Ross, president of the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan, says her organization will have to rely on donations.
We have over 1.4 million recipients on the program here in the state of Michigan, so there will be an influx of more people coming to our food pantry lines.
Democrats say they want to have negotiations on extending health care tax cuts that are set to expire, which would raise premiums for millions of Americans. Republicans holding firm, saying they won't have any conversations until the government reopens. Government shutdown is not affecting Medicare services. Officials say both parties agree the program remains one of the most protected parts of the nation's safety net. Dr. Mehmet Oz, administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, tells WTMJ.
Both Democrats and Republicans love Medicare. It's the crown jewel of our social safety net system. No one's touching it. It's continuing on untouched. It's imperative that we keep these systems healthy, but that doesn't influence Medicare. Medicare is for folks over 65 primarily. And open enrollment is your once-a-year opportunity to take a fresh look at your coverage.
Open enrollment for Medicare continues through December 7th. Hurricane Melissa, now a huge Category 5 storm, winds at 160 miles per hour. It's expected to plow into Jamaica later tonight. ABC News chief meteorologist Ginger Z tracking the storm.
By tomorrow morning, we'll be talking about landfall, and that's when the worst of the winds will be coming in through the western half of Jamaica. The southern part of Jamaica, that coast, that's where the 9 to 13 feet of storm surge.
National Hurricane Center says the storm is expected to bring 15 to 30 inches of rain. Some local areas could get 40 inches. Bridge maintenance work will affect your ride this week. Make sure you're ready.
We have various overnight road closures near the Zoo interchange this week. The nightly closures will start tonight and will continue through Thursday. Those closures start at 10 p.m. and wrap up at 5 a.m. the next day. All this for bridge maintenance. Detours are going to be posted during the closures, and as always, all the work is weather dependent. Visit WTMJ.com to get all the dates and directions of the closures. Debbie Lazaga, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 200 points, Nasdaq up 346, S&P 500 up 58. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Oh, boy, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mind Chef is family-owned, understands inflation hurts. Every Monday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza absolutely free. Any size, any quantity. You buy one, get one free. Buy 2, get 2 free. Buy 10 pizzas, get 10 free pizzas. Business owners, managers, bring in pizza for your hardworking employees and your key clients. They're going to love it because it's delicious pizza, and your second pizza's free, saving your company a ton of money. Bring your family in today for free pizza. Your kids will love that world-class game room. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near EAA and Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. No need to cook. Don't think about cleaning today. Mondays can be tough enough. Buy one pizza, get one free at the Mine Shaft. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Desserts, and I love their desserts, are also buy one, get one free. Just walk in today for your free Monday pizza. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
They saved over $50,000 after we sold their home at only 1.9%. You don't have to pay 6% to market and sell your home. Hundreds of Century 21 Benefit Realty clients will attest. You can get it all for only 1.9%. The more value your home has, the more important it is to find the best real estate commission and the marketing ability to get top dollar. And with Century 21 behind us, that's what we have. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. Half a century of marketing expertise joined with over 20 years of local market knowledge. Not to mention the savings you'll see after you get our best commission right up front, which, by the way, is only 1.9% on the listing side of your home. Join that together and you can be sure that you've chosen the right real estate experts who have the experience to market your home effectively and give you a commission that'll end up paying for things like new furniture. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Jordan Love outdueling Aaron Rodgers. Packers with a big second half to beat the Steelers 35-25 Sunday night in Pittsburgh.
A big game for Love, throwing for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of those going to Tucker Kraft. Love with some high praise for his playmaking tight end.
He's a big-time player, and I think, everybody's seen, what he's capable of when he gets the ball in his hands. Just making guys miss, running people over, getting those extra yards.
In the matchup between Love and Rodgers, head coach Matt LaFleur was very happy with the play of his QB.
How he carries himself. He just is so confident. He's a great teammate. He encourages the other guys. He's a hell of a leader.
Packers returning to Lambeau Field for a game this Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. Neil Doyle, WTMJ News.
Milwaukee best about the Cleveland Cavaliers, 118-113 on the road. Bucks will be back home Tuesday for a matchup with the New York Knicks. The Badgers lost to Oregon 21-7 in Eugene on Saturday. Wisconsin's not lost 6 games in a row, has now lost 6 games in a row heading into a bye week. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We did have a crash on I-94 East at Highway 18. It was blocking the left lane. It looks like that has been cleared off. Left shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. I-43 South at Beecher, Lincoln. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy today with a high up to 55. Clear and 46 overnight. Partly cloudy, breezy again, 55 for the high. Then Wednesday, slight chance of showers. Partly cloudy and breezy, high 54. Sunny on Thursday, high 52. Halloween, Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 53. Madison 49, Green Bay 47, Milwaukee 52 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome to a Victory Monday episode of Point Taken, although we're not going to talk about sports in the first hour. Joining us alongside Kristin Brey, as always, of course, Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12, host of Up Front, which is, as I said many times, one of the best political shows in Wisconsin and beyond, because this big, beautiful thing called the internet allows that to be viewed all over. Do you ever look at your data or numbers that show how many people outside of Wisconsin watch your show?
No, I should.
You should, because it has.
Would it impact
the show? Probably not.
No, I mean it's a Wisconsin show.
Yeah. Everyone you touch issues that are beyond Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And
Wisconsin's an important state.
I've heard
it's a swing state and could be in the future. All right, Matt. So you always have great conversations, and I think the one that we'll start with is the conversation I had with Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Jill Karofsky. She talked about a lot of things, but she started talking about this recusal question. We know that Brian Hagedorn recused himself from Act 10 cases. We know that she has now expressed the same desire to recuse herself from the Gableman.
No, Susan Crawford.
Rather.
So what was the history on that? Why is she recusing herself?
She worked with Judge Remington in Dane County, who oversaw the Dane County portion of this. So they worked together. So she kind of went through that explanation in terms of the relationship that she had with him, just working with him.
Let's play a piece, and then let's.
Well, we don't have anything on the recusal.
Oh, we don't.
No.
Okay.
So we have some on the other topics that we covered on. But as far as so what would be the process? Because right now it's basically just up to each justice. It's them to the honor system.
And to be honest, a lot of judges and justices like that they feel they can make the decision on their own whether they recuse themselves from a case or not that's coming before the court. What the Chief Justice wants to do is first hold a public hearing, literally hear from people about their thoughts. And all of this is coming off the last 2 elections, right? The most expensive elections, the most political elections we've seen in court races. And she is of the mindset that there should be a new rule in place that better guidelines or better dictates when a judge or justice would have to recuse themselves from a case before the state Supreme Court.
So basically, they want to do a public hearing, and then and then with that information, it would be upon the court to make these rules for themselves.
And whether that actually happens or not, TBD, because a lot of justices feel that they can do this on their own without rules or guidelines in place.
Well, given that we've had a Crawford and a Haggard on recusal already, doesn't that suggest, at least to me, that the process does work? Since it's each side of the ideological.
Yeah, I mean, some would argue, and you have petitions, right? In a lot of the high-profile cases, like Act 10, like abortion, you always have petitions for the justice to recuse, and sometimes they decide to recuse, and sometimes they decide not to. I asked her specifically. I said, "Well, are you looking at money? Are you looking at politics in terms of like what this rule would address?" And she didn't want to go there yet. She said, "I want to really listen to what we would gather in a public hearing in terms of what stakeholders would say regarding this."
Do you find that she's one of the left-leaning justices on the court, that she's more willing to have these conversations in public in the media than maybe some of the other justices are?
I think just speaking to herself personally, yes, it appears that way. She's done a number of public appearances. She did the interview with us. She's talking about holding public hearings. Today, as we speak, they're holding oral arguments outside of the court. They're in Richland County, Justice on Wheels. So they're actually at the Richland County Courthouse as we sit here at this moment, hearing oral arguments in 2 cases. They've done that before. COVID stopped it. They just hadn't resurfaced. It's called Justice on Wheels. So they're literally in an auditorium as we sit here right now, hearing oral arguments in 2 cases. And this is part of the outreach that the court would like to do, just in terms of people better understanding how the state Supreme Court works.
Well, given what we talked about last week with the Department of Public Instruction, it's nice to see that kind of transparency return, because, I mean, that's really shedding light on what their work product is.
Yeah. And to that, what we also talked about was threats, right, that justices are facing. This is obviously a heightened security event as we sit here this morning, because they are outside of the chambers. They're in an auditorium, and that is real life these days.
Do they get security?
Not personally, no.
Okay.
And that's something we talked about. There are 4 officers right now essentially responsible for the entire court system in the state of Wisconsin. That funding runs out next August. So the Chief Justice says her first priority is ensuring that funding stays. There's been all types of proposals to increase funding and add officers, add security, add kind of like its own agency just for the court. That hasn't come to fruition yet, but those conversations are definitely happening.
We know that some local leaders have security. We know that certainly some state leaders have security.
Yeah.
It is, if what you're saying is true, that they have no authorized, paid-for security for Wisconsin Supreme Court justices?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have Capitol Police when they're in the Capitol.
But they all live separate lives. I've seen many of these justices at restaurants and
they don't have their own
events,
security detail with them. They have, which we've seen, and just last week, the man arrested in Dane County for stalking Justice Karofsky.
So let's listen to that a little bit right now.
I sit here today.
The threat of political violence in this state and in this country, Matt, is real. And it is going the wrong direction. It is rising.
Is the legislature doing enough?
I have met with both members of Governor Evers' office, and I have met with legislators on both sides of the aisle. And I will tell you this. This is an issue that transcends partisan politics. This is an issue where everyone is trying to figure out the best solutions.
Because there is a certain extent of, like we said, who gets it and who doesn't, as far as what leaders have specific detail for them when it comes to their security, when, as Justice Karofsky just said, there is a rising threat from, it's not partisan, it's happening on both sides.
Yeah.
And depending on kind of the, I'll say it, lunatics, it's sometimes very specific and not necessarily the top leaders in the state. And so how do you decide where to allocate money and resources to keep people safe?
It's a big question, and I think it's something they're going to have to wrangle with, because I was just telling Kristin before the show, I had an opportunity to talk with some residents of Minnesota, and they're still outraged by what happened to their essentially the political assassinations of some of their members of the state legislature. So these are important conversations to have.
And where does it stop, right? I mean, you talk about the Supreme Court, but you have circuit court judges in every county in this state facing threats. You have lawmakers in the state legislature, the state Senate and Assembly facing threats. So, like, what is the solution is the million-dollar question.
Absolutely.
He is Matt Smith, Kristin Brey, Steve Scaffidi on a Monday edition of Point Taken on 620 WTMJ. Lots more to talk about with Matt Smith, our guest political director at Channel 12, after this on 620 WTMJ.
Get 2 mattresses for the price of 1.
Whoa, what are you doing?
We don't do sales at Penny Mustard.
I know, Nicole.
So how can we offer 2 mattresses for the price of 1?
Because it's only 1 mattress.
You're not making sense, Ben. Have you been painting in confined spaces again?
Arvid, I'm talking about Penny Mustard's 2-sided mattresses.
Oh, I see. When you have a flippable 2-sided foam or coil spring mattress,
it's like having 2 mattresses for the price of 1.
You'll give each side more time to breathe.
And your mattress will last twice as long.
You use both sides of your pillow, and you should be able to use both sides of your mattress, too.
I don't use a pillow.
What do you use?
A cement block.
Really?
I find it relaxing after a long day of painting in confined spaces.
2-sided mattresses, because 2 is better than 1. Available every day at Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of. And enter now at WTMJ.com. Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
Thanks for tuning in as always. If you miss any or all of our conversation on Point Taken, which airs 10 to noon here on 620 WTMJ, you can find it at WTMJ.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Point Taken is the name of the show, and we also have a podcast that we do away from the show, sort of continuing the conversation long form on many of the topics, including one that we're going to do this week. I think we're going to talk about moving to the center and whether that's a good idea for Democrats and Republicans.
And what does that even mean?
And what does it mean? How do you define that? So we'll get to that this week, and it'll be available wherever you get your podcast next week. Matt Smith joining us, political director at Channel 12 in Milwaukee, host of Upfront. You also had State Senator Mary Felskowski on the program. Interesting comments from the senator about a lot of things, but we have a clip from her that I think is really, really interesting. Can you
for the food share?
Yeah.
Is there any scenario that you see that the legislature would step in if this is prolonged?
$114 million is a lot of money. And my heart goes out to people, but this is a federal issue. And I don't see the state having the resources to do that. I just wish that the Democrats would sign this continuing resolution and vote for it, and let's move on. They shouldn't be playing games like this. You don't hold people hostage over these kind of issues. So, no, I don't see us stepping in.
It is a big number, but when I hear the argument that Democrats, you have the majority in Congress, you have the President of the United States, any comments like that I cannot take seriously. I understand there's always votes in play, and in this case they need some votes to get their work done. But this is where compromise and coming together actually illustrates to me that people actually want to do the work of governing. So what I took from that, one, it's a big number. Here's the reminder that I'll give Republicans, and you can comment or not comment on this. I think a lot of Republicans assume this is just Democrats or poor people that are, getting this stuff. It's not partisan. I think I saw a number over the weekend that a lot of these people are rural conservatives.
700,000 Wisconsinites, and there's no way that all of them are Democratic voters, right? When we talk about the part, like the purpleness of this state, right? But even more than that, this is a big issue as far as grocery stores and grocery stores who make money based on SNAP benefits. It's a big deal when it comes to farmers.
Yeah.
Like, this is an issue that if this prolongs after November 1st, that it is more than just people going hungry. It is entire ecosystem as far as our food supply that it's going to be hit by funds not being available.
Beyond blaming Democrats and saying they weren't going to step in, what else did she offer?
I mean, at this point, nothing, right? I mean, when you look at, and broaden out, when you look at Congress, it seems like they're doing the same thing. What are we in week 4 now of this? And nobody seems to be talking. Nobody seems to be talking about compromise. We'll see what this week brings, just in terms of not only food share in Wisconsin running out Saturday, ACA enrollment and talk of the subsidies. That open enrollment begins on Saturday as well. Is that going to bring anyone to the table? It seems like everyone, Democrats and Republicans, are so entrenched on their side at this point. What is going to budge? And maybe once we see, the food share effect, once we see the Obamacare effect, maybe that will open conversations. But I don't know at this point.
I don't know either.
She also mentioned that she has no ambition to run for an open seat. I think you mentioned that on the upfront program. Also, that was the other point she made.
Medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana.
Yeah, this one is so frustrating to me. And here's my message for Robin Voss. Either get along or step aside. This issue should have been decided decades ago. This is stupid.
Well, basically, because she said that she thinks there is opportunity on the Senate where the week prior, was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, told us. Yeah, she didn't mince words on her thoughts on Republicans in the Assembly.
Do you think you're closer now than you have been in years past?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, it's an 86% issue. Wisconsinites have voted, the Wisconsinites have spoken up.
What do you make of Speaker Voss telling us a couple weeks ago that it's essentially dead on arrival?
That's the Assembly, and that's Speaker Voss. He has in the past said, we can probably get this done. Then he said, no, it's dead on arrival. Then it was statewide dispensaries. And earlier this year, he said there's potential to get it passed. Now he said it's dead on arrival. Choose your day. Choose your day. So we're not going to worry about the Assembly. We're going to sit here and we're going to do what the Senate does.
Choose your day.
Last time you had Voss on, what was his thoughts on this?
That it's dead in the Assembly.
Yeah.
This version is dead.
Because he liked the state dispensaries, right?
No one else liked it, though.
No one else liked it, but the previous session, he liked that bill. That didn't go anywhere. He does not like the current bill.
Correct. And Felskowski says 100% absolutely no state-run dispensaries would ever pass the state Senate. So here we are.
I just don't get this issue. This is such an easy one. Medical
Small
marijuana.
potatoes.
Yeah. It's like, she said it, 86% issue.
Yeah.
How are these things hard? And yet we continue to stumble along like this is somehow a very controversial issue. It's not. 86. You never get 86%. Right? What else do we get 86%? We had one last week, it was 90. I forgot what it was.
There's a couple.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. But certainly medical marijuana is up there. All right. Any other notes on Felskowski? Otherwise, let's take a break and come back to talk about Charles Franklin and the new polling that's coming out this week. He is Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12. This is Point Taken. Stay with us.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Capital Heating and Cooling and Abby Home. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi here from Milwaukee. Weight loss, still can't believe myself. Lost 45 pounds since January. Now I'm in the reduction phase again, trying to lose a few more before the end of the year. We got the holidays coming. That's always a challenge for weight. I'm back in the reduction phase, and Milwaukee Weight Loss has helped me feel better, stronger, and more confident than I have in years. If you're frustrated like I was with the trendy stuff, the shots and the meals bar shakes, all those things, they get a lot of attention, but they're not really what you need to reset your metabolism. Milwaukee Weight Loss can help you lose the weight without all of those things. Just real results. They last. Look at me. I'm 10 months in, still have lost the weight. Resetting your metabolism. The weight comes off, stays off. You want to stop the yo-yo stuff, take control of your own life and your own weight. There's a smarter, faster, and safer way to reach those goals, but you got to get involved. You got to do the thing. You got to call the number. It's 262-393-2334. I'll give it to you again. It's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com at 262-393-2334. Do it today.
We all have one. That junk drawer, old keys, dead batteries, a phone charger from 2008. But somewhere in there are the tools you actually need. They're just buried in the clutter. For many people, their finances look the same way. Scattered, outdated, unproductive. A financial junk drawer. At Annex Wealth Management, we help you clean out that junk drawer. Organize what matters, eliminate what doesn't, and plan with purpose. And we'll do it as a fee-only fiduciary. Start today at AnnexWealth.com. That's Annex Wealth Management.
It's like you don't want to even do anything anymore. You lay in bed in the morning, putting off the pain. You put off your workouts. You put off your walks. And yard work, that's just not even an option anymore. As we speak, pain is taking away more and more from your life. And unless you take action, it's going to get worse. And that's no way to live. Not when there's a Rejuvenex clinic nearby. Because the power of Toradol, joined with the wonder of hyaluronic acid, can alleviate your pain. And it can allow you to start living your life again. This is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas. At as low as $65 per injection per joint, Rejuvenex treatments are affordable. They're FDA approved. And in many cases, our patients pay nothing at all. Because insurance, including Medicare and Medicaid, pay for them. If your pain just won't go away, you should call Rejuvenex today.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Google reviews will tell you it's worth a try.
A few minutes left with Matt Smith, political director at Channel 12 and host of Upfront. Great review of politics in and around the state of Wisconsin. All right, Charles Franklin has some upcoming polling numbers. He did something a couple weeks ago. I think I remember.
National poll, yeah.
I remember talking with him. What's the next round of polling?
Wednesday. The first Wisconsin poll in a while. This will be the first snapshot from Marquette in the governor's race. What voters are thinking of the primary, most significantly likely, how many voters don't know any of these candidates or care about any of these candidates a year out
Aren't
from
really
the election.
thinking about this yet, unlike
are like,
us.
What's going on here? Yeah. But also important, Charles said, is they're polling on about 10 different issues, and they're gauging at this point what Wisconsinites feel is most important. And this will obviously drive the campaigns for governor and all the high-level races that we're going to see in the midterms. I believe there will be a few shutdown questions as we're in the middle of this. So it'll be a really interesting snapshot on where Wisconsinites sit a year out from the midterms.
So a basket of candidates on one side and basically Showman and Tiffany on the other. From a journalist perspective, which of these two sides are more interesting to cover?
At this point, they both are because, I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see. On the Republican side, there's a lot of people, including Tom Tiffany himself, who thinks he is the declared chosen frontrunner.
He was on the show last week.
Yeah. So if this race continues, if anyone else gets in, there's still been, the Eric Hovde chatter. We saw the Tim Michaels chatter last week, right? So there's chatter still. The Democratic field is going to be fascinating. How fast can these candidates raise money? At some point, some of them are going to have to get out. Does Mandela, if and when Mandela Barnes gets in, what does that do to the race? There's a lot of time between the primary.
Was there any
next
indication
August.
as far as how they are? Because I know there was some criticism over the Badger poll, which said that Mandela was a front runner, even though he hasn't even declared. Did Charles make any reference as far as how they framed the questions for this poll?
So we'll have to see what comes out Wednesday. And I'm not even totally sure if they're including declared candidates and hypothetical candidates or just declared. So we'll have to wait and see for the big reveal on Wednesday.
And on the Democrat side, it's still Sarah Rodriguez with a big balance.
Fundraising.
Yep, in terms of money, and it'll be curious to see once finance reports start to accumulate. But yes, she got that big $2 million from the Democratic Lieutenant Governors Association. So money is power, and money speaks volumes at this point in a race like this with so many candidates in the field.
All right, so beyond the Charles Franklin new polling numbers, what else are you going to be looking at this week?
I think the government shutdown is going to become louder and louder. It's been kind of fascinating that it's been removed from a lot of the headlines and talking points. It's kind of ebbed and flowed, right? I think this week it's going to really escalate when we talk about the healthcare subsidies, when we talk about the food share on Saturday, and just how those conversations progress and what people say.
Who's your top get to be able to talk about that issue for the show?
Oh, see, you're putting me on the spot now.
I'm just saying, if you got your wish list of who would you get to be able to talk about this, if possible.
There's so many aspects of it, right? Like, do you talk big picture nationally? Do you talk about in the state? Why don't you send me some suggestions?
All right, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, he is Matt Smith.
Way to evade the question, Matt.
Let the record show he
Am I
evaded the
becoming
question.
a politician?
Oh, he's got a future career in politics. Matt Smith, political director of Channel 12. Thanks for being here. As always, he'll be here next Monday as
Thanks,
well.
guys.
All right, we got local news. I don't know who's doing it. Probably Connie Weber, because she's here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And, of course, now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Within the next day, Hurricane Melissa is expected to turn northward, bringing severe winds and flooding conditions to Jamaica. Right now, the Category 5 storm has winds blowing it up to 165 miles per hour. Day 27 of the government shutdown, and if a funding deal isn't reached by the end of the week, millions of Americans could lose access to federal food assistance programs. The Trump administration says they can't provide that assistance beyond November 1st, but Democrats are pushing back.
In Massachusetts, where more than 1 million people will lose SNAP benefits, Democratic Governor Maura Healey pointing the finger squarely at President Trump.
President Trump has chosen to stop all SNAP benefits to Americans starting next week. You know, leadership is a choice. And sadly, President Trump has chosen to take away food from people all around this country.
ABC's Jay O'Brien. President Trump continuing his trip to Asia. He's in Japan right now. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. Fort Atkinson police shot and killed a domestic violence suspect. Police called to a home on Washington Street around 5 p.m. Sunday after getting a call of someone firing a gun. During their response, a Fort Atkinson officer fired his weapon, hitting the suspect who died at the hospital in Madison. In Saukville, a woman who was hit by a car in a Walmart parking lot has died. Happened just before 11 a.m. at the store on Green Bay Avenue. The 50-year-old woman died at the hospital. One person killed in an air tank explosion at a storage building at the Harbor Village Resort and Campground in Door County. The deceased found outside the building. No other details available just yet. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 245 points at 47,452. NASDAQ up 369 at 23,573. S&P 500 up 64 points at 6,856. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Disabled vehicle, I-94 West at Barker Road. Right shoulder there is blocked due to that vehicle. Also another broken down vehicle on the exit to Highway 164 from I-94 West. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy today, 55 for the high, clear and 46 overnight. Partly cloudy, breezy, still 55 for the high tomorrow. Wednesday, slight chance of rain. Partly cloudy, breezy, high 54. Sunny on Thursday, 52. Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 53. 50 in Madison, 49 in Green Bay, 53 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:33.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
Time out on the field. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, a whole house of new windows for as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no extra interest.
And unlike opponents, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin actually stops the drafts.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 10/31/2025.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
We didn't spend a ton of time last week talking about the president's, for lack of a better term, poop video that he sent out from the White House about,
I think we spent I think it was Monday we talked about it.
But I do want to spend a little time because, again, I had a lot of time in conversations this weekend I'm not going to get into the details.
What were you doing that you had so many conversations this weekend?
I was at a very large funeral,
Okay.
and there was a lot of lead time in advance, and I had a lot of different conversations with members of the military and just people that I sort of half knew and some I didn't. And the subject of when they find out, if they either knew that I'm a radio host talking about politics or they found it out pretty quickly, this subject comes up, and almost to a person, and I'm talking all over the political spectrum. People are increasingly disgusted with what the president is putting out on Truth Social, what the president is putting out from the White House accounts, and it might as well be a PR account because some of the stuff that's blasting out of the White House is just filled with nonsense. And I was going to sit here and read some of this stuff, and I'm just going to basically paraphrase some of this stuff. He's basically back to the 2020 that he won 2020.
He never really let that go.
Well, he didn't, but most other people have. And as I said, I don't know if I said it on the show or not, the interesting thing for me will be how those elected officials, including in our states, who initially were all about Gableman, all about this fraud, they think, or the shenanigans, as it became a very popular term, and that sort of quietly drifted away as Gableman thing fell apart. We wasted millions of dollars on nonsense, and now he's facing a lot of different challenges to his career, whether it's in law or otherwise. And I see this stuff, and I guess just the general sense that I have is this is not presidential to me. That we are sort of subjecting ourselves, and I understand he won the election fairly and squarely in 2024, and he gets to do it, I guess, but is this really what we want from our politicians? This is what we're going to do now. We're going to have utter nonsense, utter lies. He's dropping F-bombs and pressers in the Oval Office now. Is this what we want from president? I'd be curious. You're not a supporter of Donald Trump, but you're a Democrat. What do you think about all this?
Well, I think this goes back to what I think that our last episode of You Need to Listen goes. It's like, it's not new, right? This has been, we're approaching 10 years, if not 10 years, because he announced in 2015 for his first run of, we know who he is. We know how he uses social media. And is it a story every time he tweets something that is, I think a lot of us would deem in normal times not presidential.
It's abnormal.
And so for us as media members, do we talk about it every time it happens just to remind people this is not normal? Do you grow accustomed to it, which I think a lot of people have because it's just Trump being Trump? Is it effective when you then see Gavin Newsom's social media accounts trying to mirror the same behavior to remind people that is like, it sounds weird when other people do it, and it's for some reason we excuse it whether we excuse it or not. But it happens, right? And it doesn't seem to affect his poll numbers, his ability to get reelected. And so it is what it is. And so how do we choose to talk about it in the realm of all of the other things that are going on, whether we're talking about ICE, whether we're talking about the shutdown, whether we're talking about the cost of energy, healthcare, food, all of these other things? Like, how much oxygen do we give his social media accounts?
It's not just social media; it's also the White House accounts.
It's also social media accounts.
Office of Communications. Well, just email chains that they send out to all the journalists in the country. Here's one, for example, and this is important, and I'll give you the reason why after I read it. Donald J. Trump's Truth Social over the weekend. Canada cheated and got caught, all caps. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs when actually he loved tariffs for our country, which is not true, by the way. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court, one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. He's referring to the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to basically be asked, does the president have this power? Mm-hmm. The answer is no, as law in this country should, I think, make the case for them. But again, we're always surprised by what the Supreme Court does. He continues, Canada has long cheated on tariffs, charging our farmers as much as 400%. Now other countries, can't take advantage of the U.S. any longer. Thank you to the Ronald Reagan Foundation for exposing this fraud, Make America Great Again. Ronald Reagan was not a fan of tariffs. So that's a falsehood right away. This is one of the more calmer ones. He's somehow indicting people from his administration and linking them to the Biden administration that served between his two terms for things that he did. It's like you were in charge when these things were happening, not the Biden administration. So I don't understand his logic and how he sort of has a stream of consciousness. Why I think this is dangerous is, and to answer your direct question, we can't talk about it every day because we'll go nuts. Talking about stupidity will make you stupid. I truly believe that. I think I said it in the podcast. It will make you stupid. But I think there's a growing sense, at least from my anecdotal talking to people on the street sample, that people are just fed up with this. And I'm talking to conservatives too, and liberals. And to a person, they're like, I can't believe this stuff is actually going on. And if we
but
don't
does it change their vote?
I think it might.
Really? You think it would change their vote in the midterms?
Yeah, we're going to get to this at some point, maybe later
today. Yeah, after Spano.
Yeah, but farmers in Minnesota, I talked to two of them. They were Trump supporters. They're not Trump supporters anymore.
Because of his tweets or because of other policy issues?
Because of his tweets
or
and
whatever we're calling
behavior and or tariffs and his impact on their soybean crop, which now just essentially gets wasted. So they're pissed about that.
Are you surprised Susie Wiles doesn't try to rein him in a little bit more when it comes to his social media accounts?
Yes. But the president has power, and he certainly likes to wield it. We haven't even mentioned the fact that he essentially lied about modifying the White House. Mm-hmm. He said, "Oh, well,
we're not going to touch the main structure of the building."
Yeah, and he did. He took it down. Yeah, also, I'm not a tree hugger by any stretch of the imagination, but I was just on the White House grounds last year. He took down 2 trees that were like 200 years old. Is that really something we should be doing on the people's property and at the people's house? I don't think so. And I'm not a tree hugger by any stretch of the imagination.
Are you not? I feel like you're you like the outdoors.
Well, I mean, I do an
outdoor
show. Yeah, but you'll never see me hugging a tree.
You're never going to see me hugging a tree.
I don't know about that. I think you might on occasion.
The trees, they speak to me.
Do you touch the trees? No, I've touched a tree on many occasions. We're getting off the point here. I'm just curious. 855-616-1620. And I understand the text line is the text line. When you hear about these things, and one of the reasons I think it's important that we still bring these to people's attention, because you're not getting it anywhere else. There's a lot of media outlets, they just ignore it now because it's Trump. Oh, ignore that. So it doesn't get any airtime or any review. I still want to make sure that people know that this is a president, in my opinion, acting unpresidential. Because I don't think that, calling people out, calling them names, dropping F-bombs in the White House. Really? This is what we're... And I'm a guy that likes to use the F word. Trust me. I think there has to be limits to this behavior.
But who limits it?
That's the question.
Right? Is it his staff? Is it just self-check, like being self-moderating as far as what you do or do not say when you're in positions of power? And so, like, if we don't have an opportunity to elect another president until 2028, whether or not he runs again, that's a whole other Steve Bannon question.
Yeah.
But does his social media presence impact whether or not you vote for a Republican or a Democrat for Senate or Congress next year?
I would argue that it should. Here's a great text, then we'll go to break, and I'd love to hear from more of you. 855-616-1620, the Exciting and Limited WTMJ Talk and Text line. 920, area code. I wish people would stop pretending Americans are somehow better than this behavior. We aren't. We've proven it. Americans are trashy, and so is Trump.
Oof.
Strong words from a texter, but it's making a case. And I have a hard time disagreeing with that argument. What do you think? 855-616-1620. Kristin, Steve, point taken, 620 WTMJ.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery and haul-away, and way too low prices on Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper?
Yeah, besides that.
Well, Hasselus is locally owned.
You mean your franchise is locally owned?
We're not a franchise. Every showroom is owned and managed by the same family. So, when you shop at Hasselus, your money stays right here. And through Monday, our family wants to give you a $248 credit towards a new Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
I like that.
Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
I love that.
Free next day delivery too.
Thanks.
For what?
for being different.
Shop local and enjoy a $248 credit through Monday at Hassleus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at hassleus.com.
It's a bird bash at Potawatomi. Thursdays, you could win up to $50,000 cash in the Bird Bash Game Show. Just play with your rewards card this October for a chance to win. Wouldn't you like to rake in a huge pile of cash? Bird Bash, only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info at potawatomi.com/birdbash. Must be 21 years old to play.
What makes working at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Diane.
I just love what I do because I get to bring joy and happiness to the residents. I develop and plan all the programs, activities, and outings. We go downtown to Milwaukee for different theater productions, museum tours. Our activities can span from Lake Geneva up to as far as Green Bay, and then we love going to the Dells. We also have a lot of speakers coming all the time, and then we always have parties.
Find a rewarding career at threepillars.org.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1 day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Texter asked us to reread the comment from another texter, then they wanted to respond to it. So here it is. I wish people would stop pretending Americans are somehow better than this behavior. Talking about the conduct of the president and others. We aren't. We've proven it. Americans are trashy, and so is Trump.
Do you think Americans are trashy?
No. I think most Americans are pretty decent people. But the trash gets all the attention, which is...
We're just lowering the bar?
Yeah. And I don't buy the fact or by the statement that if we talk about it, then we're making it worse, because otherwise it doesn't get talked about. The fact that the president can say things that are absolutely insane, use the word on purpose, and unpresidential, I think deserve attention. I'm not going to do it every damn day, because as I said, talking about stupidity will make you stupid. But I'm certainly going to call attention to this stuff. And I just gave one example. There's hundreds of examples. He spent, I think it was like Friday or Saturday night, just bombing out things on Truth Social about everything. Most of it factually incorrect. Most of it not even chronologically correct, because he's blaming members of the Biden administration when he had power when these things were happening. That kind of behavior is just stupid. So I heard from a few texters. His mental health seems concerning to me. It's only going to get worse. I'm not going to make a judgment about his mental health. I'm just talking about his conduct. It's not presidential. Now, I understand that's sort of a vague term, right? So what's presidential?
Well, and that's because it's like, when I think of presidential, it's being president to all Americans, right? As far as
that's out the window.
And that's been out the window. As far as rising above, trying to lead by example, that's the thing to me, as far as like to lower the temperature, not have argumentative, divisive rhetoric, as far as trying to bring us together is what I would ideally like to see from that office. Now, I think he's the prime example of someone who is not doing that, and in fact is probably doing the exact opposite. And we mentioned last week there were examples, whether it was gaffes or people who kind of misspoke when you talk about Hillary Clinton or you talk about Joe Biden, because things are so partisan, and you talk about the other side supporters. And I don't like that either. But it certainly doesn't feel like both from the White House social media accounts that feels like I said this when you were gone. So when you were gone, the Politico had published Telegram chats between young Republican operatives and people. And there's been some fallout from that. And, and I made the argument that I think the internet is eating our soul. That was kind of my main thesis from that, as far as the internet rhetoric that we think is okay. And we talk about keyboard warriors who would never say this in person, but I think we're getting to the point where more people would say it in person.
Sure.
And it becomes our ability to, what we see online and what we excuse online, whether it's behavior or language, that we cheer on when it's our side and we denounce when it's the other side. But in reality, it's only continuing to lower the bar of what we expect, what we cheer on, and it's all terrible.
It is terrible, and I'm not stupid. I understand it sells. There are radio stations, TV stations, and networks that make a lot of money doing this stuff. And Fox News, and pick a radio station in your favorite market that does this. There's examples all over Wisconsin, all over the country. There's a market for that. And somebody said to me, I think it was an email I got over the weekend, that I said something about Fox News sort of representing some of the stories that Trump wants to hear, and they're doing something that maybe an MSNBC, or although that dynamic might be changing pretty soon.
MS Now
or whatever, they wouldn't do in the past. I think when you see sort of this shift and sort of the dumbing down of everything, we're getting even less important information, less facts than we did before. And I'm not sure how you fix it, but I'm going to continue to call this stuff out. And I mentioned this before, and I know we got to get to break. I used to always play this clip from the Caine Mutiny, which is Humphrey Bogart, and he goes insane, the captain at the end, because he's worried about strawberries and ice cream, basically. And it's a very relevant clip because it illustrates the sort of the breakdown in the mental reasoning of a leader, in this case on a ship. This is like a movie from the 50s. But it's relevant today because I see the things in that piece of audio, and we're not going to play it, but I see the things in that piece of audio that reflect some of the things I see today. Just insanely stupid things, not just from the president, from other people in politics on both sides. And that seems to be what gets all the attention. And I understand I'm sort of arguing.
Well, because that's the thing. It's like, what do you ignore? What is important? This is the conundrum. What do you highlight because it's happening and it's important to know, versus what do you ignore because by giving it oxygen, you only amplify it?
My message is this. I'm not going to ignore it, but I'm also not going to talk about it every day. But I will not let it just happen because I think it's dumbing us down. That's my point. And you may have a different opinion. We always talk about all the things we talk about. And this is not an easy one to do because there's so many examples now of stupidity in politics that it's like we could do an hour every day on this stuff. It's just, I'm not really. Somebody asked me if I was optimistic. I don't know. I used to be always optimistic about the future, but I'm not that optimistic anymore. And maybe that's just old age. Maybe it's something else. It's depressing is what it is. And as I said before, unpresidential. All right, we'll wrap the hour after this on 620 WTMJ.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of. And enter now at WTMJ.com. Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
I've been screwing up all the chores at home.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
But darn it, my wife still isn't mad at me.
You want her to be mad?
Yeah, so I can sleep on the James sofa from Penny Mustard.
With the extra deep seats.
And ultra-high-density foam cushions.
You're messing up on purpose so you can sleep on the James sofa?
I gotta admit, it's a pretty good plan.
The James sofa, starting at $22.96 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559. 414-667-5559.
Why settle for just a job when you can have a career in the exciting automobile industry? The Auto Dealers Association of Mega Milwaukee new car dealer members have service technicians, sales, administrative, and management positions available now. The first word in career is car, and one of the best places to find a great career opportunity is at an Adam member new car dealer.
For current great-paying job opportunities, visit adam.com/jobs. That's ADAMM.com/jobs.
The Fox and Hound Supper Club near Holy Hill is now serving dinner at 3 p.m. Monday through Saturday through October 31st. Buy one dinner, get one free. Witness the spectacular fall colors of the Kettle Moraine Forest. Google the Fox and Hounds Restaurant.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I suppose you're wondering why I called this meeting. As you all know by now, we had an excellent dessert for dinner tonight, ice cream and frozen strawberries. Well, about an hour ago, I sent Whitaker to the pantry to bring me another portion. He came back with the ice cream, all right. But he said, "Sir, there ain't no more strawberries." Now, gentlemen, I do not believe that the officers of this ship consumed a full gallon of strawberries at dinner tonight, and I intend to prove it.
So that's just a little taste of what, and then he actually goes and has them like spoon out the ice cream that each officer said they had. It's unbelievable.
What movie is this?
The Kane Mutiny.
I've never seen it.
It's an award-winning movie.
Classic. Go back. And
yes,
add
it's
it
worth
to the
watching.
list?
It's intense. It shows the breakdown of one's mental states from a high-ranking officer. And I'm not making the equivalence, but I'm saying when you see behavior and you see words that stretch boundaries when it comes to our politics and our leadership, you should be concerned. And you take that for what it's worth. I will also say that this president won this election for a lot of different reasons, but he correctly identified what people were talking about in public and in their states and their communities, and he's duly elected. He has rights, and he gets to do some of these things, but I think there are limits. All right, action-packed next hour as well. Kristin, Steve, news is next. Point taken.
There's a lot of noise coming out of Washington these days, but one thing retirees in Wisconsin can't afford to ignore is the new Big Beautiful Bill. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the truth. The changes buried in this bill could have a serious impact on your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we've dug into the details, and we want to make sure you know what's really at stake. The Big Beautiful Bill includes sweeping updates to tax brackets, Social Security thresholds, Medicare premiums, and retirement account rules. And for many retirees, it could mean higher taxes on your savings, more limits on deductions, and unexpected changes to your income plan. Maybe you're already retired, or maybe you're just a few years away. Either way, what you don't know could cost you thousands. That's why we're offering Wisconsin residents a free educational guide to help you understand how the new bill may impact retirees and questions to discuss with your trusted financial advisor. Just text the word tax to 414-897-9522. That's tax, T-A-X, to 414-897-9522. You'll get immediate access to expert insights from the team at Drake & Associates, retirement planners who have been serving Wisconsin for over 20 years. We focus on tax-efficient retirement planning, helping you keep more of your money, avoiding surprises, and staying ahead of the curve no matter what Congress throws your way. So before the Big Beautiful Bill takes a bite out of your hard-earned savings, let's make sure your plan is designed to help prepare for uncertainty. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. That's TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping build retirement confidence right here in Wisconsin.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
I know why you continue to live in pain. It's because you don't believe anything can be done to help.
Maybe you bought into something and you've been burned before. I mean, your skepticism, it's understandable. This is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas, and here we use powerful, anti-inflammatory, and cushioning pharmacological medicines to ease your pain. They're FDA approved, and most medical insurance is going to pay for our treatments, including Medicare and Medicaid. And that's the litmus test. Because if insurance has shown to cover the cost of many of our patients' treatments, you can be sure it's valid medicine. It's not a biological treatment considered experimental or some new gimmick that's trying to hook you. The Rejuvenex approach to pain relief is legitimate. It helps to alleviate pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. And from what we've seen, it gives people a new lease on their lives.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Call today, and there's a good chance we'll see you tomorrow.
Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11:01, we've got 51 degrees, mostly sunny today, breezy, high 55. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The Madison Metropolitan School District investigating serious allegations involving staff at Whitehorse Middle School. A post on social media claims staff members were involved in a physical and sexual assault. District says it immediately launched an investigation working with school leadership, the Office of School Safety and Law Enforcement. Officials urging the public not to repost or share information online, saying it could affect the investigation's integrity. No further details have been released. President Trump on a whirlwind trip throughout Asia with the focus on trade deals. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott in Tokyo.
President Trump touching down in Tokyo for the second stop of his week-long trip across Asia, announcing a breakthrough in trade talks with China ahead of his high-stakes meeting with Chinese President Xi.
I think we're going to have a successful transaction.
It's just the latest twist in the president's on and off again global trade war. Just as he announced progress with China, he abruptly ended all trade negotiations with Canada, accusing the country of running, quote, fraudulent ads that use President Ronald Reagan's own words to criticize tariffs.
Later tonight, Trump will be meeting with Japan's new prime minister. Senate is returning today as the government shutdown now in its 27th day. However, senators aren't currently scheduled to vote on a measure to reopen the government after it failed to be passed for a 12th time last week. This coming weekend, November 1st, government funding for food assistance will run out for some 42 million people. Americans could soon see lower prices at the pharmacy. Administrator for the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, says the president's been meeting with major pharmaceutical companies to drive down costs. He tells WTMJ the goal is to make U.S. drug prices fair compared to the rest of the world.
Right now in America, when you buy a drug that's made in an American factory even, same pill, same bottle, you pay three times more than that same product in Europe. Why? Because we let it happen. We tolerated it. The president said he's done. He's not going to allow that anymore.
Oz says outpatient prescription costs under Medicare already decreasing this year. As the weather gets colder, time to get that flu shot. Chief Health Policy Advisor for Milwaukee County, Dr. Ben Weston, has details on this year's flu vaccine.
This year's shot is trivalent. That means it protects against 3 different strains, 2 influenza A strains and 1 influenza B. And for people 65 and older, there's a special vaccine with a higher dose to give a stronger immune response.
Last year, there were over 77,000 confirmed cases of the flu in Wisconsin, over 7,000 people hospitalized. If those fake loan calls won't stop, state officials say don't take the bait. Michelle Ryden with DATCAP tells WTMJ scammers use fake caller IDs and pushy tactics to steal your personal information.
Scammers are telling a consumer you are pre-qualified for a loan, and then they offer to submit an application on their behalf. They use this high-pressure tactic to convince the consumer to provide private information like that Social Security number, bank account details, and even a name with a date of birth. We hope you just ignore the call.
Ryden says reporting the calls helps investigators track where the scams are in Wisconsin. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 253 points, NASDAQ up 373, S&P 500 up 66. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Oh, boy, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. The Mind Chef is family-owned, understands inflation hurts. Every Monday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza absolutely free. Any size, any quantity. You buy one, get one free. Buy two, get two free. Buy 10 pizzas, get 10 free pizzas. Business owners, managers, bring in pizza for your hardworking employees and your key clients. They're going to love it because it's delicious pizza, and your second pizza's free, saving your company a ton of money. Bring your family in today for free pizza. Your kids will love that world-class game room. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and near EAA and Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. No need to cook. Don't think about cleaning today. Mondays can be tough enough. Buy one pizza, get one free at the Mine Shaft. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. Desserts, and I love their desserts, are also buy one, get one free. Just walk in today for your free Monday pizza, MineShaftRestaurant.com.
Here's a penny for your thoughts. There's about 11,000 tire-related crashes every year.
Mostly due to driving around on underinflated, beat-up, worn-out tires with low tread.
A couple of clicks at richlawns.com will get you scheduled for a free tire tread test.
But if you're pressed for time, there's an old trick we use in the tire industry that'll tell you if you need tires.
And that's free, too.
My dad showed me, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from someone else way back in 1964.
Ah, yes. The old penny test.
Yep, just place a penny head first.
As in upside down.
Into the groove of your tire. Now, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, you're due for tires.
And hey, if the free penny test frazzles you, book an appointment at richlawns.com.
If your tires are good,
no harm, no foul, because it won't cost you a penny. Be safe, buckle up, and hang. Always make sure you've got good tread in your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're
due for service.
Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Packers won their third game in a row. Green Bay beat Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers 35-25 on the road. Packers have won 3 in a row now to improve to 5-1-1 on the year. Bucks lost for the first time this season. Milwaukee was bested by the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-113 on the road. Bucks are back home Tuesday for a matchup with the New York Knicks. And the Wisconsin football team could not snap its losing streak. Badgers lost to Oregon 21-7 in Eugene on Saturday. Wisconsin has now lost 6 games in a row heading into a bye week. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Highway 100 south to I-94 east. Left shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. We had a broken down vehicle off-right. I-94 west at Barker Road. Looks like that has been cleared off the roadway. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly sunny and breezy today, 55 for the high. Overnight low 46. Partly cloudy, breezy tomorrow, again 55. Slight chance of rain on Wednesday. Partly cloudy, high 54. Sunny on Thursday, 52 for the high. And Friday, Halloween, partly cloudy with a high of 53. 51 all around now in Madison, Green Bay, and in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken. We are always excited on Mondays to be joined by our friend Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, to talk what's coming up this week, what happened over the weekend, about the economy. Dave, how you doing today?
Good. How are you? Is everything going well?
You know, happy about a Packers win, not as happy about a Bucks loss, but that's sometimes the way the cards get dealt. So,
yes.
Let's talk about, there's a lot of earnings coming out this week. More than 170 companies are expected to report earnings this week, including the Magnificent Seven. So what are you looking out for when it comes to all these earnings coming out?
Yeah, that's really, as we know, every quarter, the publicly traded companies have to release their earnings. And of the S&P 500, about a third of them are going to report this week, and the biggest names. So this is the week for earnings that we have to watch. Wednesday, Google, Microsoft, and Meta all report, and on Thursday, Amazon and Apple. So really a big part of this right now, and all of them are expected to show increased earnings and revenue. And the reason why we really watch this week is because the Mag 7, as you point out, they account for about 24% of all of the S&P earnings. So it is definitely a critical week and it'll set market sentiment as well.
Whenever you see that sort of over-reliance, my term, on a select group of companies or sectors, is there an investor concern that maybe we're over-relying on a piece of our economy that maybe could go in the tank, and then we're in deeper what?
Yeah, for sure. And the what stuff is where you don't want to be. And that is exactly right, because it's all great when the market is going up, but imagine that this whole sector would turn down and it represents 24% of their earnings. Obviously, that it would have an overall effect, not just on the market, but what we call the wealth effect. And so people would look at their 401k plans, see the market goes down, and then it's just this cycle that goes that people start to spend less money as well. So you're absolutely right, Steve. We have to make sure that we don't go into the you-know-whats.
What could cause, because it does feel like it's overrepresentative, not only just in the S&P, but just in our lives, right? As far as how much we talk about AI, how much it is social media, all of these things overrepresented in our lives. So what actually could cause a downturn for any of these, like the Magnificent Seven?
Well, you did see earlier this year is that, there was a story that it wasn't going to represent what we think that it's going to represent. So all of these companies are having a lot of spending that they're going to expect some type of return in the future. So if all of this spending doesn't come to fruition down the road and really doesn't increase revenues and earnings, that's when you're going to get your correction in at least not only these stocks, but across the market. So no doubt that we have to watch these things. But, right now, the real truth is what's their earnings per share. If they are increasing their earnings per share, and how do you do that? You increase your revenue and you watch your expenses. And so it's an overall economic impact, not just on these companies, but on the hiring that they do, on are they making people's lives better? Are they making people's economies better? And so that's really what we have to watch. But in general, in aggregate, not just these companies alone, but the third quarter earnings are expected to grow almost 12% on earnings and almost 15% on revenue. So we are set up to have a pretty good earnings season.
Any conversation, I didn't have this in our notes, but any conversation on what the economy might do as far as consumer spending leading up to the holidays? Because that's always a big part of the story for finances.
Well, right now, when you have good earnings, when you have an economy that is spending, that is generally good for spending. But obviously, we know the government is shut down. Mm-hmm. So where there is, obviously a big vacuum of what information we're trying to get. Now, the Conference Board, which is not from the government, they have some numbers that will be released tomorrow. And again, that's not from the government, but we're seeing right now that there is spending happening. And as Kristin and I talked about when you were gone a couple of weeks ago, Steve, is that there is clearly a bifurcation in the economy, that the spending is happening from the top 10 or 20%, not across the market. And that is really what's driving a lot of the economic impact.
It'll be interesting to see, because didn't we break records last year for Black Friday and Cyber Monday as far as how much money was spent?
We did, and I think that's going to continue. And by the way, and it's all relative, right? Because the economy continues to grow, and that's a year over year. And when you have a positive GDP, it means that we're increasing the economy. If it goes up 3 or 4%, that means there's more money to be spent. There's more money being spent by individuals. And the expectation by some economists, Kristin, is we could have a 5% GDP next year. I know that's a hefty goal because we haven't seen that in a long time. But if you get that 2026, that could come out in earnings and in people's expectations.
Dave, before we go to break, the inflation rate ticked up slightly for September. It takes it to 3.0 for the year. Any concerns there?
Yeah, no, I think you have to really break down what's going up and what isn't going up. If you looked at that earnings report, we saw some things that we did like in it. I mean, obviously gas was up 4%, which is surprising that gas prices were up, but that was a big part of it, and that wasn't great. The fact that it ticked up slightly above the Fed's target, the Fed wants to get down to 2%. It's about 3% right now. But owner's equivalent rent, that's their term. That is what it costs, for shelter and housing. That came down and flattened out, and that's the biggest part of that calculation. So seeing that is a pretty good thing. We'll see if And by the way, when Trump starts to talk about, inflation is down, of course, he's not an orator, but what he should say is it's down down to expectations. Obviously, we were at 7, 8, 9% inflation, and now we're at 2 to 3%. The Fed still wants to get it down to 2%, but they can't do it at the risk of causing a recession. And that's why we're going to see the Fed cut rates, and we're going to get that information this week.
Still got some more time with Dave Spano. If you have a question, fire it off, 855-616-1620. We'll try to work it in, the Siding Unlimited WTMJ talking text line. Dave Spano, CEO from Annex Wealth Management. More after this on 620 WTMJ.
We all have one. That junk drawer, old keys, dead batteries, a phone charger from 2008. But somewhere in there are the tools you actually need. They're just buried in the clutter. For many people, their finances look the same way. Scattered, outdated, unproductive. A financial junk drawer. At Annex Wealth Management, we help you clean out that junk drawer. Organize what matters, eliminate what doesn't, and plan with purpose. And we'll do it as a fee-only fiduciary. Start today at AnnexWealth.com. That's Annex Wealth Management.
It's cruise deal season at Fox World Travel, and these savings are making waves. Set sail in style with exclusive offers from top cruise lines like Viking, Avalon Waterways, Princess Cruises, Celebrity, and Holland America. Ocean or river, Europe or Caribbean, we've got extra savings and special perks just for you. These deals won't stay afloat forever. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com before they sail away.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery, and prices that are way too low?
Yeah, besides that.
Hasselus Mattress is locally owned and managed by the same family.
So,
your money stays right here. And through Monday, you'll get a $248 credit towards a new Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hi, Debbie. I just thought I'd let you know eastbound 94 has what looks like a pretty bad accident.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, on the WTMJ traffic tip line, 414-238-9329.
Hi, Deb. It's Mark. 894 West. It's a parking lot.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it?
Westbound 94, just west of 27th Street, two-car crash.
Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Welcome back to Point Taken. We are talking to Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management. And Dave, I have to get your just reaction. I don't even know if there's analysis to go with this, but I feel like the clip of the weekend was Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. I did not know what his side hustle was, but let's give it a little listen.
Martha, in case you don't know it, I'm actually a soybean farmer, so I have felt this pain too.
Is he wearing overalls on the weekends? That we
Can
just
you
didn't know about
imagine? Can you imagine? He's a very well-dressed man, as you know, but just because I invested into a restaurant doesn't make me a restaurateur,
exactly
right?
right, Dave Spano.
Yeah, so I don't think he's on the back of an old Alice Chambers tractor in North Dakota. But, so the story is he owns some land and then leased it back to a farmer, right, who's actually doing soybean farming. So is he affected by it? That's fine. But, just because you have
livelihood depends on it.
No, just, as my wife's famous line, just because she bought a fishing license doesn't mean she knows how to fish, right?
And so, golf clubs too, and not be a great golfer.
Exactly.
So I guess that is a good question as far as, obviously, we talked a little bit about it last week. There was the Canada TV ad that set Trump off as far as now risking tariff negotiations with Canada. He is meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping this week. What are you watching this week as far as tariff negotiations?
Yeah, I think you touched on a lot of it. Of course, let's just stay with the soybean farming right now. I mean, obviously that will have an effect if there is some advancement in the Chinese talks, and obviously the market is 47,443 as we look right now. So that is rallying. Steve, you'll remember I said, when we passed 40,000, I joked. I said it's going to 50,000. I don't know if it's going to be the end of this year or when it's going to be, but it's headed there. Here we are. up from 40 to 47,000. So the market is headed in the right direction. It is rallying today on the anticipation that we could get some movement in the conversations with China. That would be a good thing. Back to the Canadian thing. Come on, my guy. You get mad over a TV ad? Really?
Right.
All right. So that's what's happened. And then again, and again, then they said they were going to pull it, and then they didn't pull it. So then he dumped a 10% tariff on top of that. So that is what the Supreme Court is going to have to listen to, right? Because when they start to hear oral arguments, and I'm pretty sure that's next week is the first part of those oral arguments. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean we're going to get an answer yet, but we're probably going to get an answer yet this year. And what they're going to argue is, can the president do this without congressional support? That's really the entire argument. And so if that can happen, then we'll have to watch it. But if they put some framework around it that he can't do it without Congress, that'll have an impact. Now, do they really send all of the tariff money back? That would be pretty messy. And here's the other thing that I thought about this over the weekend. Even if they said that, does that mean and does that do anything for you and I? Because the companies have already raised prices and charged those. They're not going to send you a rebate, right? The companies, you already paid for whatever the product that you bought if they raise prices for tariffs. So we'll see if that's move number one. And move number two would be, he has a plan B. And so that doesn't mean that the tariffs are going to go away. It's just a matter of how he gets those done. So a lot of trade issues happening this week. This could be a good week if we can put a lot of the stuff behind us. If we get thawed back out with Canada, we'll see how the Blue Jays do, if that has anything to do with the argument. But the Canadian argument could be better, and the Chinese argument could be better, and that the market will react to both of those.
Hey, Dave, I had the opportunity to do and the pleasure of doing a webinar last week on the WRS system with two of your teammates there at Annex Wealth Management. And it's a shameless self-promotion, but I think it's really important to highlight some of the things we do together partnering with you. And that's pointing out some of the really significant things happening in our economy, but also illustrating with your team how they impact individual investors and, more importantly, their financial plan. Give folks a few examples of some of the things we've done over the last few months, because these are really, really good and well-attended.
Well, we talked about the Wisconsin RS system, so that is one of them. In fact, tonight, in person in our headquarters, in our Brookfield office, we are having a year-end tax planning, and those are generally pretty well regarded because people have to say, what should I do in this tax year with the passage of the OBBB, right, the old big beautiful bill? What does that mean to me? I mean, and when you hear all the stuff that you and I talk about, that we all talk about, is what does it mean for me? And obviously year-end tax planning is one of those things. So that's coming up, and that'll be tonight in our Brookfield headquarters. But then we have, you and I are doing something later on, at least with
the 21st, I believe.
I think Tuesday the 18th.
18th, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. The tax planning presentation. Yep. And we'll have Eric Strom, who's our team lead of our financial planning, and Tom Burkholz, really smart guys.
They are smart guys.
They are. Yeah. You got to surround yourself by some smart guys.
They make me feel dumb, Dave.
No, they shouldn't do that. That's not the point. The point is that everyone has a specialty on the team. I mean, we have PhDs of economics. We have estate planning lawyers. We have tax planning. And why do we have those people here? So when Mr. and Mrs. Kuskavevitz from New Berlin come in, they get the best talent. And that's the reason why we do it.
And that's one of the reasons we have Dave on the show, because Dave is really good at his job and really good leading a great organization at Annex. So check it out at annexwealth.com events page. They have all the stuff you can sign up for. They're free, and you can really learn a lot about your financial future. Dave, always enjoy the visits. Thanks for sharing your wisdom as always. Have a great rest of your week.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, quick break here. Kristin and Steve on Point Taken. You can keep those texts coming. Got a lot of texts today, which is cool. 855-616-1620. Lots more to talk about. We'll do it after this news.
What's on Tap with Sandy Max, keeping you updated on culture and creativity.
The Wisconsin Film Office. We can say it out loud. It's going to happen. Academy Award winner John Ridley.
So I'm glad that Wisconsin is getting in the game. I hope they stay in the game. Wisconsin is great because it has so many different looks. It has so many different places. It has places that are untouched. It has places that are incredibly modern.
What's on Tap with Sandy Max, weeknights at 6 on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. You've heard me talk about it 5 years plus now, almost 6 years. The snoring issues that kept my poor wife Kathy up, I don't snore anymore, and that's a pretty cool thing. And I attribute that to going to Annex as a customer and a client, not as a spokesperson. I just went to Advent to fix my problem, which was waking up constantly, not getting a good night's sleep, the snoring, which I talked about. They added a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed, really easy to do. And that sort of gave them the backdrop for what they then told me, which I had a sinus and nasal passage problem. My breathing triangle is how they referred to it. They did a short procedure, less than a half hour, in one of their offices, which are fantastic. Since that moment, since that procedure, I breathe better than ever, taking in way more oxygen than I need probably, but I'm sleeping through the whole night, and I wake up rested and refreshed, ready to do this radio program. If you wake up like I used to, which is not refreshed, tired, cranky, take the time to see how Advent can help you. I'm honestly serious about this because people ask me about this all the time. It does wonders for your sleep life and does wonders for your just the rest of your life. It's not just about sleeping. Go to AdventKnows.com. Schedule an appointment today. Find out for yourself because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying tub, or even just one you're tired of. And enter now at WTMJ.com. Sidex makes it easy to go from fright to fabulous.
There's going to be a new way to appreciate what we do every day here.
I'm very excited about
I
this.
know you are.
Because it's not like we don't do enough already.
No, we do a lot of different things, as you know, and most of the hosts here do. But this is sort of a new venture for us and for the station, for that matter. We're launching a newsletter this weekend.
From the mic to your inbox.
Mm-hmm.
We're still working on the tagline.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out.
No, I think the tagline right now is because the conversation doesn't stop when the mics turn off.
Yeah, that's the tagline.
So we are launching a weekly newsletter that's going to come out on Sunday mornings. It's going to be part recap from the highlights of Point Taken the week before, linking to the YouTube pages, some of the clips from the show, the podcast links, also giving you recommendations from Steve and me of things we're watching, reading, listening to, things coming up as far as guests and other things the station's doing. So if you would like to subscribe to our new newsletter that is going to premiere on November 2nd, so this coming Sunday, just text EXTRA, EXTRA, to 855-616-1620, and we will send you a link to the sign-up page. And also, it's a way for you to engage with us. So we're going to have like a question of the week or a poll every week, kind of based on the topics we're talking about. So, when we ask a question to the text line, this will also be an email form. So you can email with us directly and we can keep the conversation going beyond 10 to noon every day.
Yeah, because we have 2 hours, but there's a lot of topics that you and I either talk about on our own or we bring other people in or we do it on the podcast. Matter of fact, we're going to do one after the news break here that we're going to talk about on this week's edition of YNTL, which will also be linked off the newsletter. It's a great way to sort of further the conversation because we're all about, at least that's been our mission statement, to sort of explore these topics in a deeper way than most talk radio folks do. Less sensationalistic, more fact-based, more deep, introspective look at how this affects all of us. So I'm excited about this. And it's just a really cool way to sort of stay connected beyond just the show. And I probably get more email than you do, and we're going to start sharing a lot more of those. And so we're welcoming all of that feedback. And part of this, the adventure that we're going to go on here is that all of these people who get the newsletter can actually come back to us and say, here's something that maybe you're not thinking about. Here's a topic that you guys have not touched on. And I welcome that. That's going to be a fun give and take. So it's going to be two-way.
Have survey results. There's so many things we can do now as far as the two-way conversation. So yes, text EXTRA to 855-616-1620. We will get a link to WTMJ.com. It's a sign-up. We just need your name, your email. It might ask for additional optional information as far as giving us. It's going to be free, and it'll be every Sunday morning, direct to your inbox. You can email us back, all the things. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, and there's going to be book recommendations as well because I just cracked 2 new books recently. So, I mean, I know you.
I'm reading a parenting book right now. I don't know if I need to recommend.
We have a lot of our listeners for this show are parents of young children.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's all going to be part of this newsletter. So extra is what you have to text. All right. We got local news with Connie Weber, and then before we get to any of that, always say this, ABC.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. All they can do now is prepare for the worst and pray as the biggest storm on record to hit Jamaica makes landfall tonight. At Category 5 already, Hurricane Melissa just grew stronger, winds of 165 miles an hour.
On top of the wind, the surge, you've got the rain. 15 to 30-plus inches. They're talking locally up to 40-plus. Cuba has a lot of rain coming too.
ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. If any of the 42 million Americans who rely on federal food assistance are not paying attention to the government shutdown, they may be unaware. The money runs out Saturday. Any states that cover for the feds will not be reimbursed. House Speaker Mike Johnson arguing today that the contingency funds are not legally available right now to cover the cost of food. The French have yet to find the jewels from the Louvre. 2 of the 4 accused thieves remain at large. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. A woman is dead after a crash in a Walmart parking lot in Saukville. Happened just before 11 a.m. Sunday at the store on Green Bay Avenue. The 50-year-old woman hit by a car later died from her injuries at the hospital. Police still investigating. Molson Coors cutting about 400 jobs across its company. 9% of the total workforce will be gone. Various overnight road closures near the Zoo Interchange this week. Nightly closures will start tonight, continue through Thursday. Closures start at 10 p.m. Wrap up by 5 a.m. the next day. All this for bridge maintenance. Time for some news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow is up 235, 47,442. NASDAQ up 378, 23,583. S&P 500 up 66 points at 6,858. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-41 south to I-94 east. Left shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. 94 west at Barker. Right shoulder had a broken down vehicle. Looks like that has been cleared off the shoulder. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny, breezy today, 55. Clear and 46 overnight. Partly cloudy, breezy tomorrow. Still a high of 55. Slight chance of rain Wednesday, 54 for the high. Mostly sunny, bit cooler Thursday, high 52. And partly cloudy on Friday with a high of 53. 52 in Madison, 53 in Green Bay, 51 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
It's like you don't want to even do anything anymore. You lay in bed in the morning, putting off the pain. You put off your workouts. You put off your walks. And yard work, that's just not even an option anymore. As we speak, pain is taking away more and more from your life. And unless you take action, it's going to get worse. And that's no way to live. Not when there's a Rejuvenex clinic nearby. Because the power of Toradol, joined with the wonder of hyaluronic acid, can alleviate your pain. And it can allow you to start living your life again. This is Rejuvenex founder Richard Salinas. At as low as $65 per injection per joint, Rejuvenex treatments are affordable. They're FDA approved. And in many cases, our patients pay nothing at all. Because insurance, including Medicare and Medicaid, pay for them. If your pain just won't go away, you should call Rejuvenex today.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Google reviews will tell you it's worth a try.
You probably don't have to replace those windows. If the frames are intact and it's just the glass that's cracked, or it's foggy, Replacing thermal window panes with the help of Less's Glass will save you the cost of total window replacement. When you want to know how much we can save you, all you have to do is measure the height and width of just the glass portion of the window panes. Then send us an email to info@lessglassservice.com and we'll get you an estimate right away. Just be sure to specify if you'd like us to come out and replace your window pane on site, or if you'd like to do it in the most cost-effective way possible by bringing the windows into our shop. Either way, you're saving a lot of money versus a total window replacement that you probably don't need. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Interesting conversation we're going to have in a second here, but we forgot to tell people what the name of the newsletter was, which is
Extra Points,
Yes.
which is why we're having you text EXTRA to 855-616-1620 to sign up for our news newsletter premiering this Sunday, November 2nd. It's going to be, for you if you're just joining us now, a newsletter from Steve and I that has highlights from the previous week's shows, so links to the podcast, links to video clips and the YouTube page, but then also recommendations of things that we're listening, watching, reading, reminders of things that are coming up, and a question of the week or a poll of the week. So we're actively seeking your feedback to try to understand, have the conversation be more of a two-way conversation outside of the hours from 10 to noon every day.
And it's formatted, but it's going to be different every week, different things that are on our mind. And this is sort of leading into one of the things that as we work through the week, we're going to stack things for our newsletter. And one of the things that we're going to talk about on this weekend's newsletter, which will come out over the weekend, is this story. So people always ask me, what do you watch over the weekend and what are the things you tune into or read? And one of the things I tune into is Michael Smirkana's show on CNN, which airs here at 8 a.m. to 9. And we got a little bit of audio. I think Jazz has that up.
I have it.
You have it. Okay. It's the question that I think...
Well, it's from the New York Times editorial board.
Yes, it's based on a lot of things. But this conversation is growing and growing. I told you anecdotally, I had a lot of conversations over the weekend at two different events where people were saying the same thing, including diehard conservatives, liberals. They are sort of tired with the extremes getting all the attention, making all the noise, creating all the noise in our political world that we live in. And I think this is an important sort of benchmark for how we approach elections going forward from a voter's perspective. What do we want to see in our candidates?
The new articulation that Democrats need to moderate comes from no friend of President Trump, but rather the editorial page of the New York Times. Theirs is a cautionary tale for Democrats from an oracle that sees danger in the current commander-in-chief, who, it says, threatens American democracy. So what did they do? The Times analyzed every House election last year. They defined the ideology of candidates based on where they got their money. And what did they find? That in election after election, moderates in both parties fared better than candidates further from the center. In most congressional elections, the winner comes from the same party that won the district in the presidential election, except for 16 candidates. Democrats who won in districts that backed Trump, Republicans who won in districts that backed Harris. And what did all 16 have in common? They're moderates. In today's political climate, where the House majority tends to have paper-thin lead in the last 3 elections, no party won by a margin of more than 9 seats. Even 16 seats out of 435 can make all the difference.
One, I'm a big fan of Michael Smirkana. I watch the show every week, sometimes catch some of his other work. And he's well-read. He reads everything. And this guy, takes down books like, nobody that I know, constant reading everything that comes out on every possible political conversation that's out there. I like this conversation because I think this is where most Americans are at.
Well, I feel like this is, all right, I feel like we have to put some guardrails on the conversation because there's so many different ways this can go. So I feel like the first thing is, what does it mean to you when you're thinking about this to be moderate, to be centrist, to go more to the center? Because in reality, when you think about what the center is, it's just the center of 2 points. And so if we're moving more as a society to the right or to the left, it's just the center between the left and the right. And so what does this actually mean to you of what you're ideally looking for?
For me, it means finding common sense, compromised solutions to problems facing our country. So let's pick a hot button, abortion. I know the two extremes on abortion, no abortions ever, and women's have the right to do what they want with their own bodies. That's, me looking at abortion, again, from a male perspective, which I don't encourage other men to do. So that's one example. I think there has to be, for this country to work properly and efficiently, there has to be a center position on that where some abortion is legal and we don't just have unlimited do whatever you want.
But what's also really interesting, and specifically if we're going to talk about that topic, which could be its own episode altogether.
Sure.
So last year there's an organization called Builders, and they work specifically on this. When you take a big issue, so they did guns in Tennessee and they did abortion in Wisconsin, and they got 14 different people from all across the spectrum on this issue. And while they come up with actual policy that they try to then all unanimously agree on and then advocate for at the state level. And so when you talk about any of these issues, it can be bigger policies as far as when we talk about paid leave, when we talk about affording childcare, when we talk about expanding Medicaid for postpartum, because we're one of the 2 states in Wisconsin right now that doesn't have it for a full year. So there's more things around this debate as far as getting pregnant, staying pregnant, being able to afford children that also touches reproductive rights, right? And so and this is what I think when we talk about compromise is being able to compromise, being moderate, being centrist.
I think so.
So that's what you're going for. It's not necessarily altering, because I think when we talk about the parties becoming more centrist, is it that they are changing their views or that they're more beholden to reflecting their views of the people they're representing?
I think both parties. Now, somebody asked me earlier about why don't you suggest this for Republicans? Well, they've won the elections to get them in power, so they've shown that this extreme, for now is working.
But 4 years ago, Democrats won.
But I can also point to a shutdown and say it's not working. So, that's the glaring example of why these things matter. When we talk about issues that are controversial, I always know there's extreme positions on both sides. And I cited one. You can pick a topic, and there's left and right, massive difference between the two. If you're talking about winning elections, winning consensus, getting independents, getting more people to vote for your candidate, a positive-looking candidate, a forward-thinking candidate, not a destructive candidate, not a candidate who hates half the population, which is a reality now, which I don't like. These ideas, I think, make a lot of sense. It's not that there can't be within a party extremes, right? I could point to the Democratic candidates for governor. I would put Francesca Hong on the sort of way left, and who would be on the other side of that group of candidates?
Well, I think up until
David Crowley. Maybe.
Within just the Democrats.
Yeah, so you have alternatives.
Missy Hughes. I would say Missy Hughes is running right now as the most moderate.
Yes. Okay. Great clarification. I think that demonstrates within the party what you can do. But if Democrats want to win a race, you have to pay attention to this issue.
So what's interesting to me, the clip that we played is talking about the editorial board of the New York Times looking at this data.
Right.
And one of the people that they reference as being moderate and was one of the people who while the state voted for President Trump, but won, was Tammy Baldwin.
Right.
And it's interesting. Tammy Baldwin's always a unique case, I think, because in her actual ideology, she's pretty far left.
Mm-hmm.
But she continues to get reelected because I think she puts Wisconsin first.
Correct.
And I think what she runs on, how she maybe tempers some of her talking points, but it doesn't necessarily change where she is ideologically.
Mm-hmm.
It's what she tries to represent based on what her constituents want.
I would argue that her work product suggests a move.
And she's also works very across party lines
Absolutely.
a lot.
Absolutely. So that
is a good model, but it doesn't necessarily mean that she's a centrist.
No, you can have your own ideology, but when you work with other people in politics and in the case of Congress or a legislature, having this nod to the central point of politics, the disagreements, and making a compromise, that's where that comes into play.
So is it less about changing ideology and more about changing the idea that just because you work with the other side, you're not weak? Because that's what it's like. There's some people who hold the boundary, the line now of to even compromise is to show a weakness because you are talking to the enemy or whatever.
Right.
Versus, I think it was Rand Paul and Tim Kaine who were on the Sunday shows this weekend saying, like, get 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats in a room and we will solve this.
Yes.
Like, those two were on the shows this weekend advocating for, like, let us come to the table and talk about this, but we also need Trump to be involved.
Yes, I love that idea, by the way. And Rand Paul, I disagree with him on a lot of things, but that actually made sense. And if you want to end this shutdown, bringing those 3 and 3s together and the president has to be the way this gets resolved. Because if it doesn't, this could be going on until Thanksgiving and maybe beyond.
Well, it's interesting because I think our government is not necessarily set up to be this partisan, right? Like, unlike different parliamentary types of government in other countries, like, this is the whole filibuster, right? It's like things are set up in a way that it's harder to get things done because there needs to be compromise. And so we've now lived, I don't know when you say it started, but we now live as like nothing ever is getting done at the federal level because the barrier to get it done requires people to come to the table. And because of our partisan primaries and like where we are in a lot of different ways, we keep electing or have the system set up for more extreme people to be elected who are less willing to come to the table.
Yeah, and it's obvious every day that this is where we're at. So keep those comments coming, 855-616-1620. We got to take a break. We're late on Point Taken. We don't like to be late, but we'll wrap up the show. A couple more quick segments. Thanks for tuning in as always. Here's some news from our partners.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Does this sound like you? Every step or reach is a reminder of what hurts, a reminder of what you're not able to do and how far you've drifted from the life you used to have when you didn't have that pain. Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi here, and I had tennis elbow, tennis pain constantly. Couldn't even turn the doorknob with my left arm. I have good news. I went to QC Kinetics. Dr. Caravelli, great team, great communicators, great at what they do. They help you and me tap into our body's own regenerative power, and basically it was natural healing versus the drugs and surgery. And they relieve pain at its source. It's not science fiction. It's real. It's utilizing your own body's comeback story. No surgery, no pain pills, no long recovery. I can swing a golf club again. I can do everything I could do before I had this problem. And if you're watching on the stream, elbow feels great. It doesn't mask the pain. It fixes it. And here's the cool offer. Veterans Day. QC Kinetics is giving back to our heroes. Veterans will get $500 off their treatment. And for every non-veteran who starts care, QC Kinetics will donate $500 to the Wounded Warrior Project. Great, great initiative by QC Kinetics. Find out for yourself. Book your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics today, 414-667-5559.
Half a century of marketing expertise joined with over 20 years of local market knowledge. Not to mention the savings you'll see after you get our best commission right up front, which, by the way, is only 1.9% on the listing side of your home. Join that together and you can be sure that you've chosen the right real estate experts who have the experience to market your home effectively and give you a commission that'll end up paying for things like new furniture. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. They saved over $50,000 after we sold their home at only 1.9%. You don't have to pay 6% to market and sell your home. Hundreds of Century 21 Benefit Realty clients will attest. You can get it all for only 1.9%. The more value your home has, the more important it is to find the best real estate commission and the marketing ability to get top dollar. And with Century 21 behind us, that's what we have. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Homer for Window Nation. It's October, and if you've got old windows, that means you're back to dealing with chilly air seeping into your home. Eliminate annoying drafts once and for all with Window Nation in Milwaukee. This month, buy 2 windows, get 2 for free, plus pay nothing for 2 years. With the holidays coming up, it's a big deal, and they can do it so quickly. Don't miss out on free windows and 0 payments for 2 years with Window Nation, proud partner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Visit windownation.com before October 31st to get started.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlands.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands. You're due for service.
Richlands.
Oh, where does the time go on these shows. 2 hours, not enough time.
Not enough time, which is why we have a podcast.
Hashtag more Steve and Kristin.
Hashtag you need to listen, which we're going to record this afternoon. And we're going to keep the conversation going that the can of worms we just opened as far as what does it mean to compromise versus being centrist? What does that mean for both parties? What do people actually want? I listened to a great Ezra Klein.
Yeah.
This would be the recommendation this week, probably for our new newsletter, Extra Points. Ezra Klein had a conversation with Jared Abbott from a think tank that focuses on working class issues, and specifically talking about the Democratic, the bad branding that Democrats have right now, but then also where populism is going from here and what parties have to be doing to kind of capture working class people. There's so much to dig into. So we're going to do that today with the newest episode for You Need to Listen coming out this coming Thursday.
Yeah, so let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, and I'll drop this on you in the podcast. As much as some liberals love Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, and they love to bring them to this, their states and have them speak, and they get big crowds. You run either one of those folks is the nominee for Democrats in 2028, they would be destroyed in an election.
It's actually interesting because Bernie ahead of both Warren and AOC polls way better than either of those women, which I think is interesting because he's like this cantankerous old man who's fairly wonky in the way he talks about things. But Bernie, still pretty popular.
Yeah, but he would get destroyed in an election, my take. So we'll bring that up.
Didn't he win Wisconsin in 2016?
I don't know.
He did.
He's not going to win an election against any Republican.
Well, he's also very old.
Yeah, he's also not a Democrat. He's an independent.
And that, which is part of the conversation as far as do Democrats need to start running as independents to get away from the bad branding of Democrats? So there's a lot to do. You need to listen. That'll come out Thursday. Our newsletter, Extra Points, coming out Sunday.
Extra, don't forget.
Text extra to 855-616-1620 to sign up for that now. Let's take one more break and let's have some fun and talk about a Packers win on the other side of this.
Bring every detail of your world into clear focus with personalized eye care at Shopko Optical. Vince Vetrano here. The experienced and caring team of eye care professionals at Shopko provide comprehensive eye exams tailored to your unique vision needs. Need glasses, contacts, both? From expert care to the perfect prescription eyewear for your lifestyle. Get everything in one convenient visit. Call Shopko Optical or visit shopko.com to schedule your exam. Shopko Optical. Partners in your eye care.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery, and prices that are way too low?
Yeah, besides that.
Hasselus Mattress is locally owned and managed by the same family.
So,
your money stays right here. And through Monday, you'll get a $248 credit towards a new Beautyrest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
WTMJ's Julia Fellow for Appliance Gallery on Wisconsin Avenue in Milwaukee, home to the state's most up-to-date luxury appliance showroom, featuring top brands like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Bosch, GE Cafe, and more. They work seamlessly with your designer or contractor. Customize with colors from Blue Star and True Residential. As a small family-owned business with one location, they handle everything from start to finish. Visit ApplianceGalleryWI.com or stop in today.
If you've ever worried about your heart, if you've ever loved someone with heart disease, if you've ever wondered if you're the one at risk, let's remind ourselves that we are not powerless. Because at the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we're pushing to outsmart heart and vascular disease by working with you personally to understand your history, assess your risks, and guide you to heart strength. By digging deep with tireless research and offering access to leading-edge clinical trials. And for the most serious conditions, including heart failure, heart valve disease, arrhythmias, and vascular diseases, we provide renowned expertise and the most advanced life-saving procedures you expect from academic medicine. So let's get out in front of heart disease. Let's outsmart it. Let's keep pushing so that every one of us can outrun it and embrace every beautiful day life in Wisconsin has to offer. To learn more about our nationally renowned heart and vascular care, visit Froedtert.com/heart.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Some prominent NBA names are among more than 30 people arrested this morning in 2 separate gambling probes.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather. Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m.
Milwaukee leaders are moving forward with an ordinance to address reckless driving after passage of a statewide bill.
Only on WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Victory Monday.
Victory Monday. I stayed up for the whole thing, even though I was threatening to go to bed at one point.
You were?
I was disgusted with what I was seeing.
For the first half?
First half, yes. And I'm glad I didn't, because it turned out. I'm not a fair weather fan. I have to wake up early.
You also thought they were going to lose.
I did. I predicted the 31-30, which Zepecki rubbed in my face.
Oh, did he text you?
Yeah, of course he did. Look, I was being realistic.
It was a great game.
It was a great game in the second half.
Well, how many completed passes did Love have?
20 in a row.
Was it more? Did it end up being more than that?
He tied. No, he tied.
He tied at 20.
Yeah, Brett Favre.
Yeah. So he beat consecutive passes ever for Aaron Rodgers as a Packer.
Yes, and the sad thing was he actually had Matthew Gold open. He could have hit him for 21s. He would have broke the record.
Would have broken it.
But he threw it out.
Tucker Kraft on tight end, National Tight Ends Day. Tucker Kraft just crushed it.
And I'll give it up to him because Gronk did like either a podcast or some video stuff, and he predicted that Tucker Kraft would just have a mega day, and he was exactly right.
Yeah, he was great.
So Gronk knows his tight ends.
So are you feeling more confident about this team now?
Here's my I'll lay it out
because we're
for
still
you.
only lost once.
Yes,
tied once.
Best record in the NFC. I love that, and this is a team with great potential. My concern is when I see halves like they've done this almost every week, where they're not in the first half or they're not in the second half. Lately,
I agree.
Lately, it's been the first half. I'm not understanding if Matt LaFleur understands what the priorities are for this team. I think he thinks they're a grinded-out run team. They're not that right now. They're a short pass, long pass team, and then once you have that going, then you can come back to the run because they have some great running backs, Wilson and
Jacobs is incredible.
Yes, but they didn't have a great night last night. So, I mean, there's potential for this team. I'm always optimistic. I'm concerned about his approach, being the coach, to this team's sort of offensive strategy. Defense is fine. Hafley's done a great job. I'm excited about this team, and I'm going to be doing the pregame for ESPN and 620 WTMJ this Sunday, and the next game, the Monday nighter, big game against the Eagles from our trio at Lambeau Field. So I'm pumped, ready to talk about sports. Sort of nice getaway from
talking about politics,
the mind-numbing stupidity that's on full display every day in our country. But that's my excitement.
All right, go Pack, go!
All right, extra! Don't forget to text that if you want to get the newsletter. The news is next. 620 WTMJ.
Does your bathroom belong in a haunted house? Or maybe it's just time for a refresh. WTMJ and Sidex are back with the Beautiful Bathroom Contest. One lucky listener will win a tub or shower conversion valued up to $10,000. It's easy. Snap a pic of your scary shower, terrifying